Hello everybody, this is Nato here at the Nest, and we have finally come back around to World War II. For those who've been with us from the beginning, remember we started with World War II and we had to cut it short because the cat destroyed Russia and Central Europe, and then we went on a several month hiatus as we developed the scenarios, but we're finally back to World War II. And so before we get started with the actual game, we have a couple new additions to it. So a couple new sculpts. You can see the Americans, they have a new battleship sculpt and a new cruiser. The cruiser is the Baltimore class cruiser, and the battleship is the South Dakota class. And then, well, we have a new sculpt for Japan, and I didn't get it out, so we'll come back to that. But England got a couple new sculpts. We have a new carrier for the British. That's the Ark Royal class carrier. And then we have a new battleship for them. We have the King George V class battleships. And then we have, come on camera, we have the new coastal sub sculpts for Germany. And then, we showcased this in several scenarios back, but no more pink chips. Got the militia markers, the Finland at War, the Winter War, custom markers. And let's see, the battle boards to save space in crowded areas. The elite of the Third Reich, all the SS divisions that can come out. And the newest addition is the elite of the Soviet Union, the guards units for the Soviet Union. I won't go into too much detail about it because General Hand Grenade already did a very well done video explaining how they work and the rules surrounding them. So I think the only thing I'll say about it is what the guards were historically. They were considered the elite troops of the Soviet Union, and when I say elite, don't think like they got like special training. They weren't like how we consider modern day special forces. What made them unique was they generally had much higher morale than the average Russian soldier, and in terms of resupply, guards units got first priority in terms of resupply, so they're usually the best equipped forces in the Red Army. And I think I'll just leave it at that. Like, if you want to know more, go to General Hand Grenade's channel. Like I said, he does an excellent job of explaining how the guards units work. And since we already done an in-depth overview of this at the very beginning of the channel, I won't spend too much time on it because we've already done it in a previous video. And I think this is the stock historical board gaming World War II 1936 game, so for the most part, most people would probably already know everything about this, so I won't waste too much time. I'm going to set the camera down now because we have another sculpt for the Japanese that's new, and I forgot to take it out prior to the video, so give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. But there's the new sculpt for the Japanese. That is the new Yamato class heavy battleship for the Japanese that we got. And all of this stuff can be picked up at historicalboardgaming.com. The new sculpts for the battleships and the cruiser for the Americans, the carrier and the battleship for the British, this Yamato class for the Japanese, and the coastal subs for the Germans, the Red Guard, or the Guards units. All this stuff can be picked up at historicalboardgaming.com. And so with that, and the acrylics, so with that I'll cut it off, because like I said, I think this is a well-known version enough. I don't need to spend too much time talking about it, and we'll just get straight into the gameplay. We'll see you then with the first turn and the fall of 1936. See you then. Hello everybody, it's Nato. I'm back because you know me, I can never get anything right the first video. So there's 4 other sculpts, new sculpts, that I totally forgot about. So we another new sculpt that we picked up is a submarine for the Germans. This is the Type 7 or Type 9, I can't remember which, but it's either the Type 7 or the Type 9 submarine, and we're going to use those for if/when Germany unlocks advanced submarines. We're going to use that for the German advanced submarine sculpt. And then we picked up some new sculpts, plain sculpts for America, because the stock, the sculpts that you get out of Global 1940, that where most of these pieces came from. For the American fighter, it's the P-38 Lightning. Now, while that is an amazing and beautiful aircraft, it was not carrier capable. So we, just because Viper and I are huge nerds like that, and we strive for accuracy, it was kind of driving us nuts, so we went and got out actual sculpts that the American Navy used and were carrier capable craft. So the one on the left is the Corsair, and the one on the right is the F6F Hellcat. In terms, at least at the moment, we're not going to treat them as any different. In terms of timeline, the Corsair came out before the Hellcat, but in terms of, if we're going to give the Hellcat any kind of bonus or advantage, or the Corsair or anything like that, we don't have anything like that planned. We just, for the moment at least, we just got them for realism's sake, because the P-38 Lightning was not a carrier capable craft. Then moving on, that up there is you can get that from the, well, you can get the Corsair too, but you get this from the Marine expansion pack at Historical Board Gaming, and this is at least a variant of what was called the Amphtrack in World War II. It was is used both as a landing craft and, as you can see in this version, as a kind of amphibious tank. The advantage of this is, because of the tracks, this could launch from a ship, swim its way to the beach, and drive right up onto the beach and keep on going. So that gave the Marines in the Pacific a huge tactical advantage, and in terms of amphibious landings. And how Viper and I are going to treat this unit for the board game is, usually in amphibious landings for for 1936, the first wave can only be infantry. You can't, if you have any artillery or tanks or whatever, they can't take part in the first roll of the dice, first wave. So what we're going to do, because of the amphibious ability of these tanks, or landing craft, however you want to look at it, we're going to say that if America has these Amphtrax and goes into an amphibious landing with it, they can be used in the first wave along with the infantry to, take advantage of that, very valuable tactical asset of being able to take an armored unit and drive it right up on the beach and just keep going. Okay, so to my knowledge, that's the only new units. Knowing me, we'll probably start playing, and then I'll remember something, or we'll run into something, and smack myself in the forehead and have to do a third try at this, but I'm pretty sure that's it now, maybe. Anyways, we'll see you with the fall of 1936. See you then. Hello everybody, this is Nato at the Nest with the fall of the 1936 turn of World War II. And start off, Germany leased a destroyer to nationalist Spain. And then, since how nationalist Spain is controlled by Germany, the nationalists, or Franco's Spanish, they attacked the Republican position at Asturia, Vasconia, and took it. And the reason they opened it up with that is because it gives national Spain a second port, so the Republican Spain couldn't blockade a port and cut off Lend-Lease. And it also opens up a rail line, and France has given Germany permission to use its rail lines to rail lease to nationalist Spain if need be, because France does not want a communist-controlled Spain on its southern border. So the probably one and only time France and Germany are going to work together in this game. And then that was nationalist Spain's only attack, and then it used its transport to take the forces in Spanish Morocco and landed them in the northwestern tip of Spain. And then Germany itself it didn't annex Austria or anything, because it doesn't want to rock the boat as little as possible, so it's keeping quiet for now. It just bought another sub, and then used all the rest of its money to pay off almost all the debt it had on its battleship that it has under construction. Moved all of its subs out into the Atlantic, and then just moved most of its ground units east to get ready for the inevitable war with Poland. You see, Berlin is pretty much emptied. The only thing it has left in Berlin is that anti-aircraft and the first SS militia that it starts off with. Everything else is sitting in Stettin at the moment. Let's see. Then Russia, next in line. Russia leased a destroyer to Republican Spain, and bought a infantry and a light tank. And then combat-wise, Republican Spain took its fleet and destroyed the nationalist Spanish fleet. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you're rooting for, nationalist Spain managed to sink 2 out of the 3 of the Republican Spanish ships, so Republican Spain will not be able to blockade the port. That's a big reason why Germany leased that destroyer, to give them that extra firepower to ensure that Republican Spain couldn't blockade Fascist Spain ports. And then ground-wise, Republican Spain attacked west and drove the nationalists out of Extremadura. And then Russia had some fighting as well. Russia did a border skirmish with Manchuria, and that didn't go so well for the Russians. They took one loss and inflicted no damage on Manchuria whatsoever. And then, other than that, while I'm over here, Russia took their sub that was sitting off of Vladivostok and sailed it north to eventually, go all the way around Russia and join up with its Baltic Sea Fleet. And then, other than that, Russia just rearranged its ground troops all over the place, mostly going west, but some going north to get ready for Finland and other various potential conflicts. CCP China attacked KMT south of Communist China, and it was a defeat for them. They lost a mountain infantry and didn't inflict any, or sorry, no, it was a draw. They lost a mountain troop, and KMT lost a militia. But CCP decided to retreat, not risk its last very valuable mountain troop. And then Japan didn't attack anywhere. All it did was reconfigure its fleet. Pretty much every ship it had moved, almost. So, as you can see, the Japanese Navy is all over the place right now because it's redeploying to various spots in the Pacific for future endeavors. Manchuria did a border skirmish with Mongolia, and that was very successful for them. Remember, they only get one roll of the dice, so they managed to get a hit on Mongolia, to take out a militia, and didn't lose anything of its own. And then Manchuria just rearranged its current forces to reinforce an attack on Mongolia and reinforce northern Manchuria against future Soviet attacks. And then Japan buying 2 Marines to get ready for an offensive somewhere, most likely China, but Japan can go anywhere and attack anybody whenever they want. England, not at war with anybody, just rearranged its ships, reinforced Gibraltar, and mostly just moved its navy around to better coverages. Italy invaded Abyssinia and took it with only one loss. Production-wise, not worth anything, but it's a victory point for Italy. And then loaded up its transport and reinforced Kufra, and rearranged its subs a little bit. Oh, I forgot France. France, it moved its Atlantic fleet into the Channel, and then the Algerian fleet it moved into the Atlantic. and then it used its money to pay off some of the debt it had on the, or no, sorry, it used it moved its cruiser up one stage on the production chart and then saved the rest of their money. And that was it for France. And then America, it spent all of its money on paying off half its debt on the carrier, and then rearranged its fleets and armies, moved all of its ground forces east and to DC, and then split off some of its Atlantic fleet down to off the coast of Panama. So when America reaches the prerequisite production and it can move ships from east to west, those ships are earmarked to go to the Pacific to help in the fight against Japan. And then the Pacific just consolidated its ships off of San Francisco. Once again, just waiting for the production thresholds to allow America to start doing something. And then KMT didn't attack anything. They just pulled away from the coast, moved into the mountains to take advantage of the defensive bonus for if/when Japan decides it wants to come play. Oh, tech rolls. Like the last World War II game we played, we're using the 1939 version of the technology and how you acquire technology. In the 1939 version, how you acquire technology is each technology has a certain amount of points, unique to each nation, and to get it you roll a dice and that the value accumulates, and once you reach that point threshold you gain the technology. So we're using that instead of the 36 version. We just like the 39 way better. And Germany got really good rolls. Like Germany starts off with a kind of head start in certain technologies, so it got really good rolls on its advanced mechanized, heavy tanks, jet fighters, and advanced submarines. Got really good rolls on those. 12, 11, 12, and 7 respectively. And then it rolled abysmally on rockets. Only rolled a 1. Then everyone else got fairly good rolls. Every roll was at least 6 or higher, so pretty good rolls on tech rolls for all the countries. The technologies don't unlock, or you can't roll again for technologies until 39. Just rolled for the ones that get a head start in certain technologies. England rolled really well. They needed 8. They start with a head start in radar, and they only needed 8 points to get radar, and they rolled 11. So England gets radar right off the bat. So that's a really good roll for England. And other than that, that was the turn. Really quick turn because there's only 3 conflicts. Well, 2 now because Italy took Abyssinia, but only 3 conflicts starting, and they're all very minor and very small conflicts. So quick turns, and we'll come back with the spring of 1937. See you then.